Cher Volodymyr, Mesdames et Messieurs, en vos grades et qualités, je suis très heureux d'accueillir aujourd'hui à Paris le président Volodymyr Zelenskiy pour la deuxième fois depuis le début
Vladimir
de la guerre
Zelensky for the 12th time since the beginning of the war begun by Russia in Ukraine, in your country. France, in all theaters, is a loyal and reliable partner, honoring its commitments, including with Ukraine. But before beginning this press conference, I want to say that the commitments we have in the Middle East to protect our compatriots and our allies. On behalf of the nation, I would like to bow with respect before the memory of the chief officer, warrant officer Arnaud Friand, who died tonight during an attack that was launched near Erbil. I also want to express my support to all our injured military service people and to their families and brothers in arms. And once this attack was announced, I asked an analysis to be done, and I will be getting that information in the hours to come. And at the beginning of the afternoon, I will talk to my Iraqi counterpart. Our soldiers have been struck, and so, as we have done in the past, we are within a coalition of the willing and also to protect the attacks against attacks that have been taking place. This is unacceptable. We have a purely defensive position supporting our allies, and it can never be justified that it would be attacked. France will continue to remain cool and keep its composure, to be reliable to our partners, protect our compatriots, and to defend our interests and our security and safety. Nothing will ever turn us away from these objectives. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are now facing an acceleration of crises and conflicts, and all are looking at Iran, this visit of President Zelensky was especially important to me. It emphasizes that nothing will turn us away from the efforts we are making in Ukraine. Ukraine has been fighting with incredible courage against Russia's aggression, and our support will never wane. I said this last 24 February. Moscow has a triple failure, strategic one, economic one, and a moral failure. Russia perhaps believes that in Iran it will get a break, but no, he's mistaken. On Wednesday, I was holding a G7, and in no case should an increase in the price of oil lead us to change our position with regard to Russia. That is the position of the G7 and, of course, that of France and Europe. And it's also strange to see Russia calling for a ceasefire in the Middle East, whereas it has been refusing for over a year now, obstinately, any ceasefire presented and proposed by President Trump and others. Last 24 February, the UN General Assembly adopted a resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire that is unconditional, and this was once again rejected by Russia. Russia does not defend peace anywhere. And I want to recall that Russia has been a historic ally of Tehran, and in January 2025, it signed a global strategy. Its details were never revealed, and it's all about production of drones of Iranian origin. And I'm saying this for all those who are committed, and this is not France's case, but I'm addressing those nations that are at war with Iran. They have to know where these drones are coming from. And we all know that the Iranian drones have been tested, unfortunately, over Ukrainian skies. And now the President Zelensky is right to support Ukrainian solutions, and we want to praise your capacity. And I want to say that we are committed to Ukraine and will continue to be committed. This is a matter of Ukraine, Europe, and France's security, and Europe has a frontline role to play. The EU and its member states are the first contributors to this resistance and have been since the beginning of the war. And last December, we decided on a 90 billion euro support loan to Ukraine. And if there is any disagreement, it will be up to every nation to keep the promises and political commitments that it will have taken last December. The support we are giving is also through the Coalition of the Willing that was launched together with the UK, contributing to security guarantees for Ukraine with our US allies, important for a just and lasting peace. The planning has been completed and we are now ready. Our support's also embodied in our help for Ukraine to integrate it into the European Union and the efforts that you are working on, and much has been done in a very impressive way. Ukraine should be able to open up the first chapter of negotiations, and I have no doubt that we will achieve this, despite the artificial obstacles that have arisen, and we will follow this path. I want to talk about our cooperation in energy. France will be fully mobilized within the framework of our presidency of the G7 to build a real energy strategy of resistance. Since January, we now have a lot of equipment. In the G7, we have a coordinated position to be efficient. Together with all this, we have military support that we are providing, and we've had a lengthy discussion with the President and his team, and we will continue to provide all necessary equipment to enable Ukraine to wage this war of legitimate resistance, to enable it to defend itself. We will step up certain types of capacity and continue to innovate so that production will be faster. Our determination is also complete with regard to pressuring Russia to make sure it sits down at the negotiating table. Much has been done with sanctions, as I said, and we will continue. We're preparing the 20th package of sanctions, and we will fight all types of evasion. And we also want to continue fighting the shadow fleet, which continues to feed the Russian forces. And we've had very important information. There are operations conducted with Belgium and with other companies. We have determining operations that are being conducted, and we will continue these efforts. That is what I want to say today at noon here as we host President Zelensky. Dear Vladimir, in this fight to protect your territorial integrity, you are defending an idea of just and lasting peace, the only type that's compatible with international order. It's a fight for your security, but for all Europeans as well. So here you are fully in your place here, and it is always a pleasure for France to welcome you here. Thank you.
Well, we're just listening to the French President Emmanuel Macron giving his press conference at the Élysée Palace.